Hi, ma'am. Can you see me, hear me? All good? Wait, I'll connect this. Hi, ma'am. Can you hear me, see me? All good? Ma'am, can't hear you. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Can't hear you, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
1 second, ma'am. 1 second. अरे इसमें वो बंद कर दो ना. Yes, ma'am. Can you speak now? Maybe I'll be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay. And share screen, ma'am. We'll do a check on that.
Please enable my screen sharing.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Great. Okay. You
This
are
is-
able to do that, no?
Yeah, and my video is from my mobile as discussed yesterday.
Yes, ma'am. We can see it clearly.
Okay.
All good.
Because now I can't see my video. So
Can you see us on your laptop screen? Maybe
not
no.
on let me see. I can see you on my laptop screen as well as yeah, I can
But
but
when you share screen, you can't see me then.
yeah, when I say, share, I can't see you on my laptop, but I can see you in my mobile.
That should be fair enough, ma'am. If you can
Yeah.
manage, not a problem.
Yeah, I will look into the camera and speak, right?
Okay, okay.
If that's
And
not a
it's
problem.
all good. Voice is clear, video is clear, all good.
Internet speed is also good today. So everything is fine actually. We are good to go.
Yes, ma'am. So
And I need to hide this. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, hide that. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, you can stop screen sharing, and I think we'll be on hold for a couple of minutes now. Because the session goes live at 11:30. There'll be a brief introduction, and then we'll go live.
Yeah. So should I stop screen sharing now?
Yeah.
Okay, I stopped it. So once I'm in the session, then only I will share my screen, not prior to that, right?
Yes, ma'am. What did you? No. Ma'am, you were asked. Yes, ma'am.
I was asking once I'm like once I start my session, then only I'll share my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am. First, there will be a brief good morning, like introductory note.
Correct.
Then Harish sir will
Correct.
come and he will introduce you.
Okay.
And then you can say, speak for a couple of minutes or seconds, and then you can start presentation.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Got it.
Okay, ma'am.
So I'll be live now. I'll not disconnect now.
No,
Right?
ma'am, not yet. We'll let you know when you'll go live. You'll actually see Harish sir start speaking, and you can be on the link. You have to be on the link.
Okay, I'm here only. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, my video and audio will be off. You will only be able to see Harish sir. That's it.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, good morning. We shall go live in another 3 minutes. Hi,
Yeah.
good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
All good. How are you?
I'm good too.
Uh,
Yesterday I had a lot of cough, so I couldn't speak properly. But today I'm like fine.
You look better as well. That's
Yeah. Past few days I was unwell actually.
okay.
So, but luckily
Super.
I'm better.
So we should go live in another 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm so happy that you are in my session actually.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I've seen your sessions. You conducted so well. So I was really excited to have you in my session.
Pleasure. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I hope everybody will like my session today.
Of course, we did see run through your presentation. I really like what you're going to be talking about. So it should be good.
It's quite exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this good? Should I be a little?
This is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Sure.
Good morning to one and all. I'm Harish K. Shankaran, Associate Director and Head of the School of Interior and Furniture Design at UID. And from all of us, I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone joining us in Day 5 of Ahmedabad Design Week 2.0. The second annual ADW event has been conceptualized under the theme of Toying with Design, inspired by the clarion call of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Bhai Modi ji to make India the global toy hub. The event, through its talks and works, hopes to reiterate the concept of vocal for local and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Those of you who were present in previous sessions over the last 4 days have been watching a lot of talks and interesting and engaging sessions from Sudarshan Khanna, Adrian Lloyd, Dadi Padamji, Jonathan Strebley, and many more. We hope to continue that momentum through a series of talks from our prestigious speakers from a global community of designers, storytellers, practitioners, academicians, and scholars who will be addressing toys through a multitude of lenses from technology, culture, sustainability, and our transforming relationships with them throughout history and towards the future. Without further ado, let's start our day, and I would like to introduce our first speaker for the day, Ms. Suhasini Paul. Suhasini Paul is an eminent toy designer, TEDx speaker, and a recipient of Designpreneur title from Sri Narendra Modi ji. She has designed over 300 plus designs for her clients in India, Thailand, Italy, UK, USA, Turkey, and France, which are launched every year at various toy fairs across the globe. She also designs toys for Kinder Joy, Disney, Hape, and Chota Bean. Today, she's going to talk to us about Design for Joy. So please join me in welcoming her. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Harish, for the wonderful introduction. I'm very glad to be here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Suhasini Paul, and happy to be here and very excited to share my presentation with you all today. And I would like to thank team ADW and Kanawati University and UID. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, everyone. Let me share my screen with you. As Harish also mentioned that I'm a toy designer. I design toys for Kinder Joy, Disney, Happy, and many more other companies. I'm also co-founder of Paul Studio, which I run with my husband and Red Dot winning designer Paul Sandeep. And we work and live in Pune and Noida in India. I'm also alumni of NID, National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. I have done my post-graduation in toy design from there. So at Paul Studio is a multidisciplinary studio, and we are more focused on industrial design, toy design, children products, furniture, school products. So a lot of interesting projects we do at Paul Studio. So we have designed over 300 plus products and 700 plus products, amongst which 300 are toys, and which are exhibited across the globe in all the toy fairs. And we design for clients from 18 countries. So we design different kind of toys in terms of surprise toys, soft toys, furniture for kids, wooden toys, board games, and a lot of other interesting games. Today, I'm going to share with you my journey as a toy designer and how I work and how do I design. I design toys past 15 years. So my philosophy of designing toys is that I need to keep my stakeholders in mind. For designing products, we have two stakeholders, right? So first is manufacturer for whom we are designing, and second is our customer for whom we are targeting, like who is going to use our products. But in terms of toy design, we have three consumers, three stakeholders. First is manufacturer for whom we are designing so that it should be easy to manufacture, cost effective, and perceived value should be high. Second is consumer, who is end consumer is a child. Third stakeholder is a parent who is going to buy our products. So on this philosophy, I design various toys and products in various categories. So today I'm going to cover these 5 topics, which is user-centric design, designing for users, toys that grow with child, and toys that are sustainable, and also how to imbibe sustainability concept among children, and design process of IoT toys, the entire design process from scratch till the end product comes in the market. And of course, last but not the least, many facets of a toy designer. That means what all a toy designer, being a toy designer, what all you can do. So let me start first with consumer insight design. So what is consumer insight design? Consumer insight design is when you keep your consumers in mind, and when you design products or toys around your consumers, their desires, their aspirations, and what all they need. So first project, I would share a case study with you here, which I have designed for a company called as Ulubulu in Las Vegas. They are into infant products and baby toys. So the insight here is that these toys and baby products has to be designed for a new age and millennial parents. So what millennial parents actually connect to and what they like. So what we found is that they are very much into social media, and they connect very easily with social media. So why not to design teethers which are inspired from social media icons, from the ages and from the like since so many years there are teasers who are animal shape, maybe abstract of animals, but we don't have teasers for new generation parents. So after all, parents are going to buy the teasers, and the buying decision is of parents, but definitely a child is going to use those teasers. So we have kept in mind both the target consumers, a parent and a baby, a child. So here we have designed teethers using the popular icons like a camera, which looks like an Instagram logo, a brass knuckle, and hashtag teether, and many more other icons we have used here. So this is called as expression teethers, and this is launched for a market in US, and this got very popular. This was designed in 2014 and launched in 2015. So this, what is the spatial design element of this teether? This teether have 8 different textures on different surfaces, so that when a child is showing it, uh, it helps children for their gums, and these teethers are trendy, iconic for new age parents, like I have mentioned. Most important thing is the material. This is produced in silicon and medical grade material with no lead into it. So it is completely safe for children, and it has passed all the test, American standards and European standards both. And this, there are different silicon surface textures on the teethers, which gently massages the gums of the child. So, and also the varying densities for the wide range of writing experiences for kids, so that they can bite at any corner of the teether, and they get very different experience altogether. So also we kept in mind the ergonomics of the teether, because a smaller child, a baby, is actually going to hold that, so it has to be very ergonomic, and the shape is such that it is very easy to grasp, and also the material is lightweight, so that a child can hold it very comfortably. So in this way we have kept both the consumers in mind. Then after designing it, we have done a user survey, definitely, which is very important part of any design process, where you go back to users and check your products by doing 3D printing or by doing mock-ups. So here we have done 3D printing of these designs, and then we have given it to the different babies from different cities, and we have checked the ergonomic and other aspects of this design. uh, Finally, when we have got green signal from our users, we have launched, actually the company has launched these products in ABC Kids Expo in Las Vegas in 2015. So as a Indian designer, it was very fulfilling to see my products launched in US market, and very nice to see my users using this product happily. So this is different kids from different cities, from different parts of the world using this product. And specifically the color has been given orange to keep it gender neutral. It's not pink or blue, so that's why we have kept the color orange. So moving uh, to the next topic, which is toys that grow with a child. So it is not literally growing with a child, as in terms of physical attributes of a toy, but in different play attributes, it is growing with a child. And why should a toy grow with a child? Because there are 3 aspects to it. First is it should be value for a child, where, because we all know children grow faster. They should be able to continue to play with the same toy in the future with different play values suitable for their age, so that they have more longevity of the product. Second is we have to keep environmental impact on toys very intact. So whatever we design, it should stay longer, because a lot of resources has gone into it, gone into making it. For example, materials, production resources, our creative resources, time, environmental resources. So it has to last longer. Third and very important aspect is cost efficiency of the product. If you add extra element or maybe a small element and make the utility many folds high, then the toy becomes various toys with multiple play values. So hence reducing the cost of the entire product. So cost efficiency is also very important. Uh, Talking about the cost efficiency, we as designers need to keep in mind that we should always keep cost as low as possible. Cost as in the manufacturing cost, and at the same time we should not uh, keep the quality low, and we should keep the quality high of the product, and that's why the value, the perceived value of the product becomes very high. So what to do to increase the perceived value of the product many folds and keeping the cost as low as possible? So there are many ways to do that, and few ways I have pointed out is using simple joineries in the toy. So in that we can reduce the cost. We can design a product which is monolithic. Monolithic as in it doesn't have many metal parts or other material inserted into it. So it's a monolithic object. Second is, let's keep common parts so that we have to invest less in dies and molds. So in this way, we can reduce the cost of the product. So I'm going to share with you one or two case studies here, which I have done for Disney, and which has been launched in India. So, so this is for Disney. This is a game. This is a sports toy wherein we can play with it in many other ways. So this is a racket set. This can be played as table tennis, squash, a lawn tennis, catapult. So how it is done? So as I mentioned earlier, so we have to keep the elements less and play value more. So here I have kept the bat common. Here you can see the green color bat, which is common with different two handles, which can be joined together with the bat and played in different ways. For example, this is the same bat, green and orange, which you see is the same size of the bat, but there are two different handles which we have given. So in which you can play lawn tennis when you have a longer handle. When you have a smaller handle, you can play table tennis. So just by removing and just by giving the locking system, you can play in two different ways. When you remove the bat, from the handle, then by adding a little extra element, it becomes a catapult. So this is a third way of playing the same product. So these are the different contents of this entire kit which we gave together. So where you can play lawn tennis, squash, simple table tennis, and a catapult. So next example is how we have integrated hockey, golf, and a stick for various play purposes. So here we have given these many elements, but we can play it in three different ways. So this is a 3-in-1 game, wherein there is a joinery, which you can see here, that yellow color joinery. By changing the head of this particular thing, you can make it a hockey stick or you can make it a golf stick by just doing the joinery. So we have given this because this is for a licensee. So we have to keep in mind to use elements of that character into the play. So I have used Mickey head here for my ball pit. And by joining these two sticks without making it a goal without making it another play. So this, when we join these two sticks, it becomes a balancing stick or it becomes a swirling stick, or you can have it as a javelin throw. So there are many ways to play this. So this has been launched in India Toy Fair in 2012 in India, very successfully launched and sold in India. So next topic and aspect is toys that are sustainable. So what is sustainable thing and what are sustainable toys? So I would talk about specifically rubber wood toys here. I have visited various countries and like China, Thailand, lived there and designed bamboo and rubber wood toys and understood the entire process and the entire cycle of designing these sustainable toys and why these toys are sustainable. So first of all, these toys are made from rubber wood trees, and rubber wood trees gives latex. And when the particular rubber wood tree is no more giving a latex, then that tree is cut and that tree is used for making toys. So when it is no more giving the latex, then those trees are cut. Then it is processed and uh, it is the production picture where the rubber wood toys are production unit where the rubber wood toys are made. So from this rubber wood toys are made. So why these toys are sustainable? Because it follows the entire cycle of a sustainability from scratch till the end. It is from rubber wood trees, definitely, which are producing no more latex. Then it is dried in chemical-free kiln. There are no chemical used here. And the glue and the kind of glue which we use for these toys are normal non-formaldehyde glue. And the colors what we use is organic color pigments and water based dyes. And definitely after all this, the packaging and the printing material and collaterals are also made in recycled paper using soya ink. So the entire cycle, it follows the sustainability concept. Now we have seen how toys are made sustainable, but can we imbibe this sustainability and eco-consciousness into kids? Yes, definitely, through the concepts, through the toys that we make. So keeping in mind these things and using the sustainable material, I have designed few toys in rubber wood. I will share with you two examples here today. First is this dollhouse, which is derived from the honeycomb and the beehives, so which is also very sustainable in nature. This dollhouse, we have given different elements into it, which child will understand how to conserve the energy, how to collect water. There's a water collection tank here. There is a solar system, solar panel here to use the solar energy to convert it into electricity. There is a windmill given here, which we convert wind energy into electrical energy. So there are different dustbin which are used for different kind of waste and which can be recycled. So these are the small elements which we want children to learn through play. So, and of course the it should be playable and it should be fun for the kids. So the furniture in the dollhouse is also inspired from honeycomb, and these are the things. Even the toilet in the dollhouse has been given in such a way that the basin is connected to the cistern, so that when you wash your hands in the basin, in the wash basin, the water goes in the cistern, so you are recycling the water also. And even the electric and solar powered car is given. So these are the few elements, and this dollhouse can be wall mounted as well. And most importantly, this dollhouse can be packed in cascaded manner so that the packaging resource is also used very less. The packaging size reduces many folds. So this can be because three of the units, which is hexagonal, is of different dimensions and different sizes, so that it can go together and it can be cascaded and then packed compactly in a box. So another aspect of design is actually we need to understand what kids learn, how kids learn faster, and how to engage kids in whatever we design in terms of toys or games. So the very important factor is storytelling here. So children learn very fast and gets engaged into a toy very quickly when you tell them in the form of a story, and that story need not be a very long story. It can be a very short and abstract story as well. So this is one of the example where empathy is also taught to children in this example, where this is a hungry fish and you have to feed your fish. So this story is given in the form of a aquarium where you have 4 color fishes. This is a basically a color matching game for very small kids of 2 years and 3 years age, where they are learning to match colors. So in this way, we can teach them how to match color as well as how to feed your fish. So here you have to feed your fish with the matching color food. For example, you have to feed your yellow color fish with a yellow color food. So, and a magnetic stick is also given. So it is a magnetic game, magnetic color matching game, where children are learning empathy, how to feed their fish in the story form. So these toys and games are launched every year in all the toy fairs: Hong Kong, China, Nuremberg, Germany, in Australia, in USA, and sold over uh, many shops in 14 countries. So this was launched in 2015 in Nuremberg Toy Fair, in Hong Kong Toy Fair, in Moscow Toy Fair. So now I would come to the next topic of our discussion, that is how we design IoT toys. Here I am going to explain you the entire process of designing toys, which can be definitely common for other toys as well. But specifically, I would talk about IoT toys and how we can embed the technology into a physical toy. So actually client came to us with this, and this was the technology which they had with them, and they have invented this technology, and they told us to design an internet enabled communication toy for the age group of 2 to 6 years old, and that toy should be instantly likable for kids, so by kids. So this was the brief given to us. We have thought about it, what children like. So we thought of making a character, so making a character and embedding this technology into that character. So children relate to the character very quickly, and they like it a lot. So this was our first thought. Then we definitely work closely with children to understand their desires, their aspirations, their needs, what do they like and what do they want. And definitely they can't tell you exactly what they like. You have to observe them. So for observing children, you have to spend time with them. So this is what generally we do a lot of time when we do any projects. And how you learn and how you take insights from them is to ask them to draw. So from children drawing, you get a lot of insights what's going on in their mind. So this is the best way, and this is what I practice as a toy designer. At least for me, this is the best way to understand child's mind. So I went to children, and I have taken a workshop, small workshop with children, to understand what are their likings. So they told me they like monsters a lot. So I asked them to draw monsters, and I uh, I got to know what do they like in a monster, what are the elements they think that it is a monster, what is the definition of their monster. And after that, I came to my drawing board, and I started drawing a monster which can be kids friendly, which can be really likable for kids. A monster which has maybe single eye, or maybe two eyes, or maybe teeth, maybe horn, maybe big eyes with expressions. So this is what all kids love. And after a lot of explorations, this was the character which we narrowed down to. And definitely, apart from the character we designed, we had to keep in mind that we had need to embed that particular technology in this toy inside. So, and this toy does a lot of functions. It is a storytelling toy. You can call from this toy to your mother. So this is, there is a call button to it. There has to be a speaker to it, and the material we are going to use needs to be very comfortable for kids, and the colors also which we are going to use should be attracted to kids, and it needs to be charged also, so there need to be a charging port for that. So where all these elements should come. So that was our first exploration, where we have considered all these elements and designed this character, and finalized this character. Then the next step was to optimize the components which can be fit in this character. So we went to their R&D team again and asked them to maybe, as we are also electrical engineers, we understand a little bit technology. So maybe we have suggested them few things to alter their technology and to make it more optimized. So after optimization, we got approximate dimension of the toy and dimension of the technology which has to be fitted in this toy. Then we came back to our own, we have started designing it in 3D. This character, which was in 2D. So this is the character from all the angles. So we need to understand scale and size of the character, also keeping in mind the size of the technology that is available. So marrying both the things, we came up to a particular dimension, which was very easy to hold for a child and very ergonomic for a child's hand. And when you see this character, it is very soft to touch. So it has soft corners also. So this is a character where we have integrated a multi-layer button which we needed, call to mom button. The speakers are there in terms of we have given speaker in the mouth because that was the only option we thought was best suitable to, because the toy is speaking. So the speaker needs to be in the mouth as if the voice is coming from there. So then on and off button and charging port has been given on the rear side of the toy so that it should not be visible from the front side. And these horns are also used as call to mom button, where you can touch this on and maybe you can call from here to your mom and you can speak with any of your family members as well. Then after detailing in 3D, we went back to again our consumers to show them this character, whether they like it and how do they react. So they liked it instantly and they could relate to the character, and by seeing it they scream like, oh, this is a monster. So we love this monster. So after getting a very good feedback from children, we have finalized this character to go ahead with. Then we have done a quick mock-up to check the grip, how children are holding this, whether we need to reduce the size. So all these aspects we kept in mind, and we have tested with children. So yeah, with little bit changes. Then we move to engineering design. Once our outer design is confirmed and it is finalized, then we next move to internal parts, like how this technology can be fitted inside, where the screws should be, it should not be visible from outside. So all these things has been done in this engineering stage. And then after the engineering stage was finalized, we have actually done a prototype which is functional. So this is a prototype, handmade prototype in fact, and we put all the technology inside the prototype and then tested actually. So it was good to go. Then designed the app, and then before going for production, the very important stage is which color you are choosing, which material you are choosing, and which finish you are choosing for your toy. So it has to be child friendly, it has to be liked by children. So these are the colors which we have chosen. And definitely here also we have chosen orange color because it is a gender neutral color liked by both girls and boys. Then we have moved to tooling and batch production of this toy. So here you can see the internal fitments uh, which you can put your technology and all the circuits into, and then it is a final production piece. So this toy is basically a very likable and huggable toy, and kids friendly toy. It is for the age group 2 to 6 years. It has lots of stories into it which children can hear with their peers or when they are alone. So this toy is good alone and better together. So they can also create their own stories and record in this toy, and then maybe later on they can show, maybe their parents can listen to the story, their parents can share this story to different community of parents where other children are also recording their stories, so you can share your stories as well. So last but not the least is what all a toy designer can do. So according to me, and toy designer can do many things. Toy designer can design education toys, puzzles, games. We can design popular character based toys. So there are licensee products which we can do. There are action figures which can be done. There are surprise toys which is very popular. There are a lot of surprise toys like Cadbury James, Kinder Joy, and there are many. We can design wooden toys which are sustainable. We can revive any toy cluster. There are so many toy clusters in India. We can take up any one toy cluster and craft and try to revive them and help craftsmen. We can design activity kits and DIY kits also. We can design tech toys, IoT toys, and robotics. Infant toys is a very good category. I have shown you one example of which. So infant toys, which is very critical also. So we can design that. We can design electronic and musical toys for toddlers. This is a very good category to dwell into. Definitely, we can do toys for pets as well. We can design toys for special needs. We can do toy workshops for kids. Be a design teacher or a craft teacher in schools. You can launch your own product. So there's many things a toy designer can do, and many more other things one can explore. So now what's new at our Paul studio? So currently we are working with RC toys, and we are designing drones, and we are designing monster trucks and remote control toys at our studio. So yeah, so this is how we design toys. Thank you so much. Thank you all for your time. So that's it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That's a wonderful, super inspiring presentation. The few questions from the audience. The first question is from Shreya Nema. What are some of the unique challenges that a creator or innovator faces to keep themselves relevant in the everyday design community? And
that's a very good question. Yeah, that's a very good question, in fact. So we have to keep relevant. That is very important aspect for a designer. So we need to keep maybe reading what is going on across the world, maybe visiting toy fairs across the world. We in toy fairs also they have presentations like what are the newer trends for this upcoming year. So for example, this year's toy fair would have a presentation by very renowned artist or a designer who every year presents in a toy fair. So what are the toy trends for 2021, 2022? So next year toy trends we come to know from the presentation. So according to that we design toys. We keep in mind those all trends in mind, and other factors definitely, as I mentioned, that we need to observe children and spend a lot of time with children to understand them. So all these things we can keep in mind while designing toys, and then we can be relevant. And of course, the buying decision is of parents, and this generation parents, every generation parents are different and their likings are different. So this is a generation for millennial parents. So what they like and what are their preferences. So we should be aware of that as well. So then we can be relevant in whatever we do. I hope I have answered your question.
No, it's precisely. There's a lot of observation that goes into how do you understand trends and how do you understand perception of
absolutely
as well. There's another interesting question from Meera. How do you think that technology has changed children's play over the years. Have you noticed a change in trend in terms of how kids approach play? And
That's that's a very interesting question. Definitely, there is a lot of change when we used to play with our own toys, our generation, and now these generations are playing with same toys and same toys. They know how to handle a tablet or how to handle mobile, how to handle internet. In fact, they know more than us. So they are explorer in their own terms. So they are very much into the technology. They know how to handle technology and how to get best of the technology, best out of the technology. So definitely, as toy designers all over the world, people are moving towards marrying the technology with physical toys. So as I explained in one of the example also, how we have embedded the technology into physical toy. For a smaller children, the physical toy is very important, as well as we are giving him exposure of the technology, so that it is very relevant for that particular child. So definitely technology toys are coming up, and they are doing really wonderful, and they are liked by children, they are liked by parents. They are very much relevant in today's world.
Most of the toys that you actually mentioned and spoken about are also gender neutral toys.
Absolutely.
There's one question on does gender of the child factor in the designing of toys in today's times, or has the market kind of gone into a very gender neutral toy?
I think the trend is going towards gender neutral toys, because the same exposure is given to girl child and boy child these days. So there is no discretion as such that we need to design for girls or we need to design for boys. For example, I designed role play toys, which due to short time I haven't discussed here. But the role play toys, for example, a marketplace or maybe a ice cream parlor where child is, or maybe a kitchen set where child is cooking, child is buying vegetables, child is selling vegetables, child is selling goods or ice creams or candies, or maybe making a jewelry. So what I've observed these years, for example, last 8-9 years, in fact, boy child is also very much interested into role play toys, and he wants to work in the kitchen, he wants to play in the kitchen, he wants to cook in the kitchen, maybe wants to make a burger, maybe wants to make a pizza or eat cake, or give it to his or her peers also. So definitely that's why we design toys for all the genders, and we keep the color palette also, which I have stressed upon twice, the orange color or maybe a leaf green color, to look like a gender neutral toy. This is what I personally believe in, and I follow it.
I totally agree with what you've actually mentioned. I've seen that with my kids as well. My son loves making pizzas along with me, and he does the same thing in terms of he has a kitchen for himself and he does pizzas. Play over there.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's perfectly true. There's another interesting question on Chhota Bheem. I guess there's one viewer who's been following your work on that. How much is the influence of the current cartoon characters on the visual appeal of the toys like Chhota Bheem? And
sorry, can you elaborate that question a bit?
In terms of what is the influence of cartoon characters on toys as toys?
Okay, that's another interesting question to answer. So definitely cartoon character impacts child's mind a lot, because they are watching these cartoon characters every day. So there are some characters which are their favorite, like Peppa Pig or Chhota Bheem, or other characters like all-time favorite Mickey Mouse. So why this licensing companies and character companies are giving licenses to other toy companies is because of the popularity of the character, and kids want to see their characters doing something for them in physical tangible object form. So the character from the screen is actually coming to the child and playing with the child. So that's what a child wants, and that's what a child craves for. So that's the best thing to do for a licensee, to make toy out of a character, because it directly goes into child's life, and child is playing with, interacting with, talking with the character. So that is also very relevant in today's, and it was relevant in the past also. So definitely licensed toys are very popular because the characters are popular, and not only toys but products. like a sipper or a water bottle or a pencil box, or maybe a plate where child is eating. Cartoon characters are printed on them, so they want the surrounded by cartoon characters, whatever their favorite characters are. And it is very easy for parents also to have a decision on buying that. Okay, my child is like this, liking this, so let me buy this and let me put my money, it's worth buying. So because child is going to keep it for a longer time also with them.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
There's another interesting question from a young entrepreneur
Sure.
and designer, Jay Vikram. He's asked cost versus value. But this example you gave for toy design, but in general, who's freelancing or one who is starting his or her own brand, how can they manage cost and value?
See, that's what I have told in a small example, how to reduce the cost. So definitely we as designers, and as we grow also as designers, we understand eventually the manufacturing processes, particularly which material we are using, and manufacturing processes for different materials are different. So eventually as we do those kind of projects, we get to learn from a manufacturer's point of view, from their R&D team. So what are the nuances of manufacturing and how can we reduce the cost? So that is what our own initiative, it should be our own initiative to learn these things. Okay, this cannot be taught in design school. This is when you practice in the toy domain, in toy manufacturing. Actually you are practicing, and actually you're making toys for manufacturing or products for manufacturing. Then you are exposed to all those things, and eventually you will learn these things. And for being a good designer, you need to marry both these two things, that value proposition and cost in because this will be not only good for manufacturer, but definitely it is good for end consumers, because they are getting value for money products. They are getting a product in less cost, which is having a very high perceived value and playability in terms of toys particularly. So these two factors are very, very important. And this is how we can learn eventually, by actually working on it.
Wonderful. There's another question from my side as well. Households have actually grown from 5 kids to 3 kids to 2 kids to lots of
Nuclear family.
nuclear families. Do you see a trend? Do you see a change in terms of how toys have actually been perceived over the years, and have the perception of toys from the parents' point of view as well, in terms of how it works with kids?
Definitely, there has been a lot of change in past 20-25 years, because earlier there were 2 to 3 children in the family, and they used to share the toys. In fact, the older children used to pass down the toy to a younger one. So there was this trend. Now, as there is only 1 or 2 children in the family, and also parents are investing a lot of money in buying different products for kids, not only toys but children products, maybe children furniture, or when a child is born. So it is a trend that parents are doing or taking up the nursery for the kid. The entire room has to be made for a new arrival. So there is a lot of change in the trend also, and buying patterns of the parents. And what they feel is what they did not get in their childhood, and they were in awe of the products which they couldn't afford or couldn't get, or whatever their aspirations they want to fulfill in their children, through their children. They want to relive their childhood through their children. So they are spending a lot in terms of toys. So there are lot of variety of toys, and even I don't know those many toys which are available all over the world. So it is countless actually. So definitely there is a lot of change in the trend, and people's aspirations, and how people use toys and children products.
Wonderful, wonderful. Your work has been very inspiring. Last year,
Thank you so much.
We had a speaker session with Paul Sandeep as well, and all enlightening sessions that you've had with both of you from in both the Ahmedabad Design Weeks that we've hosted last year and this year as well. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful creative person to share ideas and have discussions with. with lack of time, we'll move on to the next session as well. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being with us
Thank you.
today. And
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure to be here. I enjoyed a lot. Thank you so much, Harish. Thank you.
pleasure, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a nice day.
Pleasure.